What is up guys, and welcome to my latest video here on SP Vids. Today I'm on the Roland Digital Sampler MS1 to give it its full name. And this is a great little device considering it came out in either 94 or 95, I can't remember the exact year. It's got some really powerful features and I actually want to do a separate video about all of those because I think in some respects it was quite ahead of its time when this came out. Today what I want to show you is the built-in looper, so that's one of those features. It's got the loop symbol here you can see. And it's actually called a sequencer. You can see here we have function pad mode and sequence mode, but it is actually essentially just a looper. There's no quantize, there's no metronome or anything like that. It's just completely freeform. You just have to start and stop the recording at the right time. So yeah, it should be a little bit of fun just trying to knock together a little jazzy beat with this. So I've gone ahead and loaded in some of my drums from Lo-Fi Drums Volume 6. That's my latest pack. You can hear those here. Kick, snare, and hi-hat. So that's been recorded in using one of the sample grades. There's 4 in total. There's high, standard, Lo-Fi 1 and Lo-Fi 2, and I've used Lo-Fi 1 for those drums. Then what I'm going to do is just record in 4 chops independently on pads 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this does have a sample divide feature, but with these older samplers, I do find that the faster workflow is just to record individual samples. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with a jazzy record, and I chose jazz for this one because really this video is just about showing you the functionality, and 90% of the time with a jazz record I can end up flipping it into something vaguely decent, so it's better than choosing something that's really obscure and hard to sample and then figuring out it doesn't work. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and set up this pad for the first chop. So we go ahead and do record, and you can see here it says select pads 1 to 8, and I'll go pad 1. And then we get a number of different options. We've got gain, so the gain coming in. How high do we want that? 15 being the maximum. I've just brought that down a little bit. We can choose the line or the mic input. So I'm using a line input here, you can see. So we'll keep it on line. We can do stereo or mono, and I'm actually going to do mono just so I get some more sample time. And then manual or auto, that's the recording trigger. So do I want it to automatically trigger or do I want to do it manually? I'm going to do this manually because it'll just be a bit easier. And do I want the sample to loop? No, I don't, so I'll leave that off. So now that that's set up once, I shouldn't have to do any of these again. So we'll go ahead and go back to gain. Doesn't really matter, but now this is ready to sample in. Okay, and now those 4 chops should be recorded in on independent pads. Let's just go ahead and give those a check. Okay, great stuff. Now, another cool thing about this device is it has mute groups, which is absolutely crazy, I think. So we'll go ahead and put these 4 into a mute group. So we'll choose B1. We'll go to sample. I think it's inside sample. We'll have a look. So yeah, here we go. Mute group out, it says at the moment. So we'll put that as in, 2. Hopefully this works. Okay, so I've set all those to in. And then what I'm going to do is set these to trigger as well. So we'll go to B1 again, sample, gate trigger, here we go. We'll change to trigger, 2, trigger, 3, trigger, 4, trigger. So hopefully now they're all set to trigger and they should cut each other off. Let's see. Okay, the only problem with this is that you can't repeatedly trigger the sample. Once you triggered it, if you press it again, it stops it. So I'm going to have to make sure I do a sequence where I'm changing between each pad, basically. Not the end of the world, just one of the limitations you can see here. It stops the sample if I try and press it again. So we've got the chops, we've got these drums. Maybe we'll do a little bit of pitching. So this has got a global pitching function. We'll go to system. We'll go across here's pitch. Let's just go down 5%, just a little bit, not too much. Okay, I thought that sounded really nice. I think we're onto something there. Maybe the levels could be adjusted a little bit, and you can do that on an individual pad basis, but I won't do that in this video. You get the idea. I'll just show you one quickly. So we could go to snare, we can go to sample, and we can go to sample volume. There we go. So you can change those for each individual sample, which is another quite cool feature of this device, considering its age. So yeah, that was sounding pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and press sequence. We'll go across to here, and we can choose any of these 4. You can see per bank, you get sequence 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, I've not got a memory card, is something that I should have mentioned here. So I'm just going to be using the internal banks here. We'll go to A and 1. So it says no sequence data. So I'm going to go ahead and press record. And this is how you do it. It's pretty crazy. It's saying standby. So now, as soon as I start playing pads, it's going to start recording, and then I have to end the recording exactly when I want it as well. So we'll give this a try and see what happens. Okay, so we recorded, I think, was that a 4-bar loop? I think that was right. So we'll try and give that a play, and we'll loop it as well, so we'll use 8. And that was pretty seamless. So we've got a nice loop there with the drums, so that's gone well. Let's see what happens now when I try and layer some samples. I hope I can layer samples. I've just thought, actually, I might have to do it all in one take. If we do record, yeah, it's going to ask me to overwrite sequence 1. So I think I'm going to have to do this again, but do everything at the same time. That's pretty crazy, but let's give it a go. Okay, I think the endpoint might have been a little bit too quick there, but we'll give it a go and see what it sounds like. That's not too bad. There's a little bit of starting up and slowing down where I've naturally changed my timing whilst I've been doing the loop. But on the whole, I'd say that sounds pretty good. Now, I'm actually going into my SP404-MK2 here. So I'm just going to add some 404 vinyl sim, add a little bit of crackle. We're going to set the wow flutter to about 55. And the frequency I'm going to set to about 15 as well. Let's see what that sounds like. We'll take that noise off. Turn the wow flutter up a bit. Wow, I think that sounds really, really nice. I think the MS1 does something magical to samples, and I think it's a bit underrated. Obviously, there's quite a lot of hype about the SP202, which was the next device that came out after this, but that really is giving me that real lo-fi sound that I quite often crave with the SP404-MK2. So building loops on this thing, sampling in, making chops, it's a little bit of work. It's an older sampler, obviously, so it's not going to be completely straightforward. But what do you think, guys? Do you think the results are worth putting that little bit of extra effort in? I personally think it is, in a way. I think the sample grades on this are really, really nice, and we've got a nice mushy lo-fi mix there that's sounding pretty good. So that's it for this one, guys. I just wanted to show you that. The Roland MS1, it's got a built-in looper. I'll do another video about this soon, showcasing all the features which I think were pretty ahead of its time. I think that'll be an interesting one, so watch out for that as well. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to check the links to the beat pack that I used in this video. You can pick that up, Lo-Fi Drums Volume 6. And a big shout out to my members that support me every month. Really appreciate it, guys. I will see you all again in another video very, very soon.